Viva Africa!
Viva Africa!
Viva Africa!
Viva Africa!
Oh,
Viva, viva, viva Africa!
nobody wanna see us together. Nobody wanna see us together. Nobody wanna see us together. Body, body, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Nobody wanna see us together. Body wanna see us together. Body, body, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Let me tell you about the story of my life. My mother was a kitchen girl. My father was a garden boy. That's why I'm a freedom fighter. Let me tell you about the story of my life. My mother was a kitchen girl. My father was a garden boy. That's why I'm a freedom fighter. Viva, comrades, viva!
Viva!
Showing the effect of the war on civilian infrastructure. We've seen it started by evacuations, or we're talking about displacement, and we've seen that a lot of people were murdered, a lot of people were injured, children were also not spared. The second documentary is going to showcase foreign interference, because this war is not just about RSF versus the SF or Burhan versus Hemedti. There are a lot of imperial powers imposing their interest in driving this war. So that is what we're going to watch next.
سلطة النظام يعني استخدمنا الجنرالات فوق عمر البشير وقبضوا معهم في كوبر لكن لسه المناصب العسكرية مسكن.
I sat down with Yasser Arman, who's the deputy leader of Sudan People's Liberation Movement North, the Malik al-Ghar faction. He was a key military figure in the SPLM's long civil war against Omar al-Bashir's regime during the late 80s, the 90s and early 2000s. He had an interesting story, as not only was he Bashir's cousin, powers have allowed Sudan's revolution to be stolen.
They are interested in the Sudan because they are interested in the security of the Red Sea, both Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, the Americans, Egypt. They don't want a regime which has relations with other countries like Russia, Iran, in the Red Sea. The third is that they are hungry for the lands and the waters of Sudan, and they want to invest fully. A democratic system might not be the best for such investment.
It was obvious it wasn't.
My name is Janjaweed. I'm a member of the Central Organizing Committee of the Communist Party of Kenya. I'm the Secretary of Ideology and International Relations. Firstly, I'd like to convene our gratitude for your presence here. We are happy that you're able to join us in celebrating the heroic people of Sudan. I know it's not easy, the events happening in Sudan, but if we can come together and actually get to understand the experiences, share stories, and also create an awareness, it's a starting point for us to see the best way the war can end. Because once the war ends, then we know that our people in Sudan will be able to access the basic needs and even just get to feel as people in Sudan. So with me is a statement from the Communist Party of Kenya. I was not available when they were reading it, but allow me to read it quickly to us. The Communist Party of Kenya stands in solidarity with the Sudanese workers, the people of Sudan and also the Sudanese Communist Party against the ongoing reactionary war. The war is being perpetuated by pockets of the reactionary Sudanese army who sold their souls to the foreign capital. These minority sections in the army are now openly using machineries of foreign government, eyeing Sudanese natural resources. The Sudanese masses will be very unforgiving to them. When the revolution started back in 2019 under the leadership of the Sudanese Communist Party, these guys are the Sudanese professional, it aimed where on people are centered. The Sudanese masses and the Sudanese Communist Party have been determined to advance the pro-people revolution. It is unfortunate that the ongoing and intensive violence in Sudan continues to compromise peace and put the lives of the poor majority and workers at risk. In Sudan, the Communist Party of Kenya supports the progressive revolution, and we know that the civil war in the making will soon change its character to an all-out revolutionary war against the Compada class in Sudan. The more rational call at this hour of need is the immediate unity of all the revolutionary and progressive Sudanese forces under the firm leadership of the party, that is the Sudanese Communist Party. The only route left to victory is the route of permanent resistance against the Compada misrule. To compromise with this class will be to auction the Sudanese working class and the poor people to the foreign interest. Any attempt to restore normal life in the interest of the capital should be frustrated by active revolutionary organizations in Sudan. There can never be peace without justice, and there can never be peace without the capitalist dictatorship. The march to overthrow the Sudanese reactionary class should continue. In the final analysis, the people shall win. The anti-people generals and the right-wing militia in the streets of Khartoum will be defeated and humiliated. The only war worth sacrificing oneself is the class war and not a reactionary war that wants to preserve the predator class among the military to continue to suck the country dry. Today, the Communist Party of Kenya raises the solidarity flag higher in solidarity with the Sudanese Communist Party, the Sudanese workers, the poor, and the majority of Sudanese people. Their victory is inevitable because only just wars are those that succeed. Long live the Sudanese Party, long live the Sudanese Revolution, long live the heroic Sudanese people, long live solidarity and internationalism.
Sing a song for Africa, because we're all Africa. But firstly, I want to thank all Kenyan people, because they treat us like brothers. And they are our brothers, and we are their brothers. So I'm gonna sing a Sudanese song. I think all of you hear it. Now you're gonna clap with me at this time. أرض الخير أفريقيا مكاني زمن النور والعزة زماني أرض الخير أفريقيا مكاني زمن النور والعزة زماني أرض جدودي جباههم عالية جباههم عالية جباههم
My name is Disma. I'm from South Kordofan, but I came here a long time during that war of SPLA. Among those people came 1990, Actually, I see all these things in the media, but I am familiar with Sudan. I'm a Sudanese, but stay longer. What I see in Sudan is not a normal war. It is just a genocide. Because like now in Sudan, you see people inside Sudan, like my family now in Sudan, they're staying in the schools. They are not staying in the homes. They flee the country, they flee the area, then they're staying in the school. What I'm saying now, because the war, it will not destroy only the people or whatever. They destroy even the emotion of somebody staying outside, like me now. I'm working with the UN, by the way. I'm among observed community leaders. When I receive those people from Sudan here, it is really hurting me. I am crying day and night, and every day I am online meeting. Like today I have an online meeting because of the war of Sudan. We have to talk to the community outside so as to stop the war. We have to bring medicines, food, and open the line for food to go to Sudan. Because now in my area, I am from South Kordofan. People, they start eating the leaves. They boiling the leaves of the tree, boiling for 3 hours. Then they pour this water, this poison water. Sometimes don't know, but they pour the water. Then they eat the leaf like food. It came to things I can't even believe. Like me now, I'm Kenya. I start seeing these things like movies, but it is real. But because I am every day online meeting with people, I see these things is real. So my only appeal for international partners and international bodies to intervene, to stop the war in Sudan. We are not left behind, because even us it affects us emotionally. Yeah, even our kids, they don't know the Sudan, what is happening in Sudan, unless you let them sit down and talk to them what is real and what is not real. So please, I am strongly appealing to the international bodies to open their way for the relief and the medicines and whatever, to go to Sudan and help what is Sudan, so as to stop this war. Stop the war in Sudan, let people build the nation again. And it's not easy to build the nation in one day, because if you destroy in one day, it took like 20 years, some more than 30 years to build this nation again. So thank you, this is my comment.
So that our peoples may never more be exploited by imperialists, not only by people with white skin, because we do not confuse exploitation or exploiters with the color of men's skins. We do not want exploitation in our countries, not even by black people. So that's very important to understand, and I believe that right now we are facing a far more dangerous situation where our own people are the ones who are playing an important part in the exploitation and genocide of Africa. So it is important for us to stand up, unite, and fight back, not just in order that we may prop up a small group of people who benefit, but to prop up the masses, to ensure that the masses are given back the power. And that is what the people of Sudan did in the overthrow of Omar al-Bashir. And why we call it an unfinished revolution is because Omar al-Bashir was toppled. Power came back to the hands of the people, but it was hijacked. And that hijacking is what we need to end, so that the revolution in Sudan is completed.
We are all from the same family, we are all Sudanese. We can't, Comrade has talked about offering emotional support. While we can't offer a psychiatrist to go and help everyone, what we can do is just grieve together. We can understand this together. We can ensure our Sudanese comrades don't stand alone. We are there with them. We've realized that a lot has happened to Sudan. For example, one of the documentaries showed a market being destroyed. I remember I remember learning a market in Arabic is called a souk. That touched me because we speak Swahili. It's called soko here. There are these things that just unite us. When you see something, we can also see it. We can try and understand it together as much as we are from far away from each other. There are these things that bring us together. So yes, we are just here to grieve with you, to understand your suffering, to help deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, comrade. We would like to recognize the presence of a comrade from the Sudanese Communist Party, that is Saleh Mahmoud Osman. A very, very, yeah, you can see. So this man has done a lot for the people of Sudan. In addition to traveling around the world so that he can highlight the plight of Sudan, he has also worked at a grassroots level to ensure that the people of Sudan are heard and that their needs are taken care of. So we appreciate you and we thank you for joining us today in standing in solidarity with the people of Sudan. So, is there any final comment now by one of our brothers and sisters from Sudan? Perhaps to close off the session? Yes.
My name is Muhammad Jibin. I'm a youth activist. I want to mention or something is so important for me. I remember when I was coming to Kenya like a student here. I have been here for 2 years, and this war started when I was in the college. I remember well, my friend is Kenyan. He supported me a lot. Also, the final things I remember, and I want to thank
the fact that the war has been particularly terrible for women and girls. I think we saw from the first documentary, there have been reports that RSF have been fighting the ASF on women's bodies. There have been reports of rampant sexual violence, sexual slavery. So it has been really terrible. I cannot begin to imagine what it's like to be a woman or to be a girl trapped in war zones. And maybe Kasina can
understand the violence outside there and the magnitude of it on people and on families and on livelihoods. Around 7.7 million people have been displaced. You know, more than 15,000 people have been killed. It's not just a number. Those are people that had family, that had community, and their lives have been destroyed, and their people have been killed. So even as we call out on the international community, I call on all Africans here and even in the diaspora and wherever they are, that they highlight the plight of Sudan people. This war is being funded. The RSF are funded, are getting ammunition and funds. The SAF are also funded by people who want this war to continue. So until we highlight what is happening and until we stand in solidarity with the Sudan people and we keep speaking about Sudan, then people don't know what is really happening in Sudan. It was only shown when the war started, the war started in Sudan, and then everything went quiet. But people are still dying, people are still running away from their homes because they are forced to run away from their homes. These are people who had a livelihood and had a home. So I want to thank CPK, and I think I was just seated, and then you said how women are getting raped and how children are getting killed, and that touched me. And yes, I didn't have much to say. I just wanted to say that until we speak about what is happening and we continue calling it out, as a people, you don't even need to be an African for you to feel the pain. People are speaking about Palestine. Every day we should not stop speaking about Sudan the same way, because a genocide is happening in Sudan as well. There is and we should not call it very nice names. There are war, it's a genocide, people are being killed, you know. So we need to call out what's happening in Sudan and stand in solidarity with the Sudan people. And until Sudan is free, we as Kenyans are not free, and no one elsewhere is free. So viva Sudan, viva.
Arthur, I'm a member of the French Communist Party, and I'm here in Kenya for a week, and I would like to share with you a word of solidarity from the French Communist Party. And thank you thanks to the Kenyan Communist Party to organize this event that reminds us that one of the core principles of our communist commitment is and remains internationalism. So I will put my glasses because I'm getting old, you know, and I have some words for the people of Sudan and the Sudanese Communist Party. So I would like first to remind you that the French Communist Party has expressed its solidarity with the Sudanese Communist Party and the Sudanese people at numerous occasions, and our two parties have regular relations at the highest level. My participation today, and thank you for this invitation, is a continuation of this commitment. And you know, you have in September La Fête de l'Humanité, which is a big festival organized by the French Communist Party in France, and I think we will be really happy to see you there. We perfectly know the importance of the Sudanese Communist Party at the heart of the popular movement born in January 2018, which led to the fall of the reactionary dictator al-Bashir. And we know, dear comrades, that you have always favored and prioritized the alliance of associations and different parties to build and oversee the implementation of the transition platform to achieve democracy and change. This platform sets out strong points for education, health, freedom and justice. We are perfectly aware of the action of the Sudanese Armed Forces as well as the rapid support forces against political activists, including the Resistance Committee, journalists also, and activists. Together with you, we call for the release of all prisoners of conscience, and we call for a campaign against human rights violations and an end, of course, to this war. We also believe that international cooperation should focus on cancelling Sudan's debt and providing financial aid to enable inclusive development and not, as the IMF proposes, aid on conditions of reducing the role of the state in the economy. In other words, drying up the already meager resource of public services. The international financial institution would do better to look at the 280 companies owned or controlled by military personnel with large personal fortunes. The same deadly logic of the Bretton Woods institutions prevails in Kenya, and it is largely against this policy that a large part of the Kenyan people is mobilizing. I would like to take this opportunity to express my solidarity and the solidarity of the French Communist Party with the Kenyan people and with the Communist Party of Kenya comrades who are very active in this popular movement. To finish, and coming back to the war in Sudan, like other conflicts, it reveals the dramatic exacerbation of relations of domination and imperialism in politics. In this context of the crisis of capitalist globalization and the current recomposition of relations of domination and international power relations. Our countries, each with its own history and socio-economic context, are each experiencing the jaws of an increasingly unbridled and chaotic capitalism that is dangerous for humanity and its living environment. This situation compels us to act in favor of urgent solutions from a social, economical, ecological, and democratic point of view. Thank you for giving me the floor.
Kind of scenarios that actually I would call it the forgotten war that the whole world should have to focus on. I know majority of those who are here today are undergoing so many emotional damage, both militarily, lack of emotional support, and also they are undergoing situations that is in regard to survival ways, like they lack food. And I stand here to project the voice of all the Sudanese who are here in Kenya, and I call upon the government of Kenya to provide the necessary support, be it shelters, food, and also counseling. I believe most of us, they have reached this country. We are having access to maybe food, but emotional support, we lack it. And I believe I can see my friends who are from the international community, probably from Europe. This is a call for all of us. To me, the war that is in Sudan is not just the war that we can talk about. It's a kind of geopolitical war. And I believe to those who have exposure to internet, like we have been told, we have the stakeholders who are also contributing to the war that is taking place in Sudan, like the Middle East and Europe, some of the European countries. And this is a call for all of us, some of the stakeholders, be it the activists, the media stakeholders. Yeah, I believe, as we are trying to also educate ourselves today or reflect back through the media, which is being brought forward by the Communist Party of Kenya. I also believe also the media contributes to the war in Sudan. Not all medias will want to explain to the world that the war in Sudan is real and it has led to the loss of life of the common human being, and especially the civilians. That is the little that I would want to put forward. And lastly, I will just call upon the stakeholders, the international communities that are working here in Kenya, and the Kenyan government to extend their hand and come out to help the Sudanese who are here, and also come forward. I believe our president, now I can call him our president, Mr. Dr. Ruto, is one of the persons who also stand forward for the some of the bodies that governs Africa. Some of us know that. He should have to come out and ensure that the war in Sudan should stop, because I believe as Sudan is affected, also Kenya is affected in one way or another. Otherwise, allow me to stop here. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I do appreciate the Communist Party of Kenya for organizing this event, and also I thank for those from civil organization. They have come here also to listen our suffering and to also to help us in any different sectors. So I would like to start my speech with some point. So first of all, I am going to thank Kenya as a country and the nation, because I am one of those people whom they came from the war. Because this war, it finds us from the beginning of war. I was there in Khartoum for 2 months. When war started, I have been there. So from that time, actually we suffer a lot. Day and night, we are listening at any moment or any time we are going to listen to the bomb, the sound of the weapons. We are going to listen it after, and especially children, at that time they suffer a lot. So we are putting in our mind that this war is going to stop like after 2 or 3 months or 1 month, because we think that this is very big war, and actually it is, and always this big war, you will think that it will stop. But we find that it is going to take too much a long time, and from that time, we decided to leave the Khartoum. So we have been 2 families. One of our family, we use southern state, like we come across Medellin and Sennar, and from that we come from South Sudan side up to here in Kenya. And actually that is why I appreciating the Kenyan, because actually they welcome us and they let us to feel us we are in our home. And also we have another family, they are willing to go to the Egypt, but actually they have faced difficulties to enter to the Egypt. So from that time, they change their way and they come across the what you call Al-Gadari state and Asubia up to here. So a lot, of course, they are facing a lot of problems. So when we come here, actually we find good dealing, and we find actually there is different thing that we find it. Because there is something in Sudan, we discover it is like, what you call, like problem of identity. Because when we come in Kenya, actually we feel as if we are in home, as I said. And so, actually we are helping, we sang you, and also we like to ask organizations those who are here to help us, because we face a lot of challenges when we arrive here, especially in we register, some of our register their name in the what you call in UN camp there, but still we are facing problem to receive our cards. So some of them they register, and some of them they are waiting for those the first people to receive their card, and then the others they can register. So we'd like to help us in that case. And again, thank you very much for your participating us, for giving us chance to participate and to tell us our view. And what I would like to say finally, we would like to call international community to call both sides to stop the war, because this war, it is meaningless, I can say. And because it is war between 2 commanders, so they are fighting for different reasons. So even we lost in the middle of the, what you call, in the middle of the sea. Some of them calling for, they are going to gain president and social, and to give the power to the social government. And some of them saying, no, these people, they want to capture or want to control the country. So we lost. But we see the best thing is to stop the war and to give the government to the civil people. So thank you very much.
The contribution of media in the issue of Sudan. And I wanted to talk about this because it is very clear that we have media in 2 categories, right? We have a media driven by capitalists. They are in Kenya, they are in Sudan, and they are everywhere. Many times we talk to BBC, CNN, who are just not the brothers, actually, the hands of the people who are bringing war in Sudan and in any other society in Africa. So we have to know what media we're talking about. We have socialist media, which is not very developed, right? But they're going to talk about, they're talking about the people's agenda, not the imperialist agenda. So whichever thing that is being said about Sudan might not be true. Sometimes it is true that what's happening in Sudan might be a proxy war or a genocide, but nobody wants to talk about it. The Sudanese are fighting a war that is not theirs. We've seen what's happening in Ukraine. It's not the war in Ukraine, it's somebody else fighting in the land of Ukraine, using Ukraine, destroying Ukraine, while this country is intact. I don't go deep and deep, but I know that the wars that we are fighting mostly, they are not our wars. That's why we have to be careful about our leaders. We have leaders who are going to bed with the same people. They might come in any other color. I don't mind. They can come red, black like me, or even yellow. But the reality is when you go to bed with the West, then what are you going to bring us?
At some point before the independence, that was called the era of condominium. Condominium that was occupied power between Egypt and so mainly the invasion of Sudan was about, in the books of history, most of the Sudanese know that it was for men and gold. Ismail Pasha, for example, when he invaded Sudan. At that time, slavery was there. If some of us had a chance to go to Senegal, there is a property of UNESCO, Gory Island, 35 kilometers inside the Atlantic Ocean, that is from capital Dakar. This has been the spot where slaves were gathered and taken to the new lands there. It's a really big tragedy. So that was the western part of Africa. But this Sahara and northern part and eastern part, I think, slave trade was connected with other areas, not directly with Europe or America, the new. Yeah. So Sudan experienced that kind of foreign intervention, capturing people as slaves, and then extracting gold. And later on, the British were able to establish ever largest irrigation cultural scheme ever in Africa. That is Al Jazeera scheme, which is very much known for the Sudanese and non-Sudanese. It was mainly for plantation of cotton, which was exported to Yorkshire, England. Then later, there was time when now there's information that Sudan is rich of, like other countries, neighboring countries. We have Central Africa, we have DRC is not very far away from us. We have Libya, where there is oil. We have oil in Darfur, we have oil in Cote d'Ivoire, in the south as well. And then we have cattle, camels, all this kind of resources, animal resources in abundance. Recently, it is about gold. Right? People who are familiar with Jabal Abel, that is around Kapkabir, North Darfur. We have recently this area of Kafia Kanji, Raja, where there is diamond, uranium. That's why other foreign powers are actively engaged. We have these Wagner groups who are very active in that area. But now, Ukraine and Russia, which were also backing at that time before, I think yes, that it was about these minorities. Because, and again, we have China. But before that, immediately after the independence, it was the main European and American powers, which are, that is the International Monetary Fund, and then we have the World Bank through tying our economy with this international circle. This is why people of Sudan were struggling when they said it's not only that the colonial powers physically left Sudan. It was very unfortunate. That is very usual in this in Africa, that when they go away, usually they don't go before they come like sure that they have agents inside. They leave agents on the ground. These agents in Sudan were very well known sectarian powers, religion sectarians. And they were sometimes manipulating this military institution to make coups. We have, like, after independence, there was immediately a coup of General Ibrahim Mahmoud in 1958. Then there was a revolution, very popular, which is very much known in all the world in Africa. The revolution of 1964, October. That was great achievement. And then, unfortunately, these powers collectively, internal and external, foreign and local, were able again to impede the spread of the revolution and to hijack it, unfortunately. Then immediately we had the coup of 1999. That's and then I mean that no, my friend 69. 69 Nimeri. Nimeri, a general, came ruled the country 16 years. 16 years. And I mean, depending on the military, even the people at that time, mainly in the south and Nuba at that time, therefore I know that Ambruna as well was still to some extent, not very much part of that kind of massive business. Then after Nimeri, we had a revolution again in 1985, April, which is also a landmark towards people who were still struggling. All this time, it was only the Western powers. We didn't have this phenomenon of the 1989 now. This is 1999, when the Islamists came to power through the coup of Omar al-Bashir. And then they changed the country. They changed the laws, calling that Sudan is, they introduced Sharia law, which have been planned to be introduced after the revolution of October. After the revolution of October, there were elections. Then that election led to establishment of the parliament of the revolution of 1966. The Communist Party had 13 elected members. Inside the parliament, sectarian powers, religious powers, organized a conspiracy to expel the members of the Communist Party. And then Communist Party filed a case in front of the High Court of Sudan, section of constitutional section. The court was, presided by Honorable Judge Salah Hassan. He ruled that it was illegal, that the parliament doesn't have any right to expel elected members. Unfortunately, during that time, it was a civilian-led government. They refused to comply with the decision of the court, the High Court. These are the religious people. They said, no, we are not going to implement that. This situation led to the coup of Jafar Mineri in 1969. That was kind of struggle. This time of Umar al-Bashir, beside the foreign powers from the West, that is Europe and America, we had this phenomenon of, again, new players coming. These are the Islamists, the international Islamic organization, which is still ruling the country the way you are seeing. They introduced the Sharia law, abolishing the common law system we had in our courts. Again, defining Sudan an Islamist and Arab country. Simply putting it on the constitution, on the preamble, saying that this is Islamist Arab country. Then they waged the war against Nuba Mountain and the south, and Blue Nile, calling it jihad. Jihad means war against the non-Muslims. As against national enemy, non-Muslims, Christians, Jewish, that is jihad. That's called jihad. That Muslims are entitled to impose their own religions on others, because this is the word of the God, they say. This was Dr. Turabi, late Turabi, who did it to the Sudanese people. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of young people died in the south, and Blue Nile and Nuba Mountain, and later even in the. You can mind, I remind you that Sudan is one of the young countries of Africa. We have, our population is, I think, 70% of the population are young people like yourself. This is the future of Sudan and Africa. 70% of the population are young people. They are destroying deliberately the future of these people, as the young engineer said. Can you remind me your name again? Sam said. He's a graduate, but he doesn't know what to do with his certificate. His families, as the families of millions of other young Sudanese, invested in him, because it's very difficult in Sudan today to send your son or daughter to the school and take care of him until he graduates. That is very expensive. And then the disappointments come when he is graduated and he is not able to afford even himself, let alone to say that I owe some debt to my family who is traveling to school, so on. This is the situation, this is the frustration today of millions of young people in Sudan. And this has been deliberately calculated and organized by Hassan al-Turabi and the NCP to kill the future of our young people. That is so. Now we have now the players from the West, foreign. We have players from China, Russia, and then we have players from Gulf countries like the Emirates. Saudi is also involved. Immensely. You can see Qatar is also involved. Iran is involved today. What is the reason? We have resources. The geopolitics of Sudan is also very unique. We have the Red Sea there. We have all this space of countries. Sudan, before the secession of the South, was the largest country in size in Africa. And still is also large today. So this is what invites other people like for example, the Americans and Russians are competing for military bases in the Red Sea. Iran is also demanding to become partner in the Red Sea. So these are powers who are igniting this and supporting this. Those, you call them proxies. They are supporting them. On one side, the International Islamic Organization is supporting this Burhan faction. That is, Burhan belongs to the previous Security Committee of Partnership. All those who were members of the Transitional Military Council headed by Burhan, his deputy was Hemedti. Hemedti and Burhan were responsible for the killings in Darfur during the 30 years of Bashir authority. So they are the extension to it. They are now call themselves members of the Supreme Council, Security Council. This is here. They are members there. And they are agents of this NCP, National Congress Party. Hemedti, on the other hand, is their partner. Until the 15th of October, they were together, responsible, jointly, in the commissions of those heinous crimes, genocide war crimes. And they were together like this until the 15th of April. So now you can see they have the common purpose that they want to dominate and to have the monopoly of power, jointly or partially. Jointly, it was before the 15th, but today everyone has his own aim, but it is about power and resources, about power and wealth. That is the situation of today. What is missing here is that, you see, this has been prolonged, and as I told you, it is now almost 1.5 years. Our regional institutions like the AU, EGAT, and African Council for Peace and Security, they are, instead of adopting a common position towards what is happening in Sudan, they are very much divided, and sometimes they are competing. Sometimes they are even confusing the victims, the people of Sudan. They don't come together to tell us that we are there for you. Sometimes they have initiatives which have even complicated the situation more than resolving the situation. Like the gathering and the meetings of Addis Ababa 2 or 3 weeks ago. That was a mess. That was a platform to invite the previous regime elements to be there, invite them to dominate the arena of the Addis Ababa, which was like an insult to the people of Sudan. It was an insult to the feelings of the victims, especially the young people, who struggled and fought against the dictatorship for 4 years now. Stoned to death. Yes, we know that there was no implementation or execution of women being convicted, but it is a stigma, it is shameful. And then we had lastly, I had a case that was reported in Sudan, no German, when a woman, a girl, was was brought to court and she was tried, convicted of adultery, and there was a child as a result of that rape. The court decided that this boy, he was a very small boy, the boy had to be confiscated for the interest of the government of Sudan. They confiscated the boy and gave him to the Popular Defense. Defense Force. You can see the miseries of this situation, plight of human rights. In the camps, IDP camps around the 5 cities, we used to find that at least 70% of the population are women, because there were no men in Darfur that can easily exist there, because if you are a young man, and then you'll be always in a situation when you belong to these targeted tribes, you are, with no doubt, for granted, the government authorities will take you as a member of the rebel movements. That is one. And the penalty, if you are tried, you are lucky that you are not killed. You have these extrajudicial killings. If you are brought to a court, the result is that it is death. That is according to the provision of the Penal Code, Section 5 and Section 50 and 51. That is it. If sometimes somebody is not also lucky and he has fallen into the hands of the Janjaweed, then you are the enemy of the Janjaweed, and that is why most of the young people from these targeted groups decided to leave the region, either joining the rebel movements or going away, crossing the border. That was the situation. Until now, after the 15th, that is the last I am about your question. Usually during the 70 years, when IDP camps, that is the internal displaced people camps, around the 5 capital cities of the region, that is Liala, Al-Fasha, Zaligi, and Jinena, and Adai. Those camps were around these 5 cities. After the 15th of April, those 5 capital cities have been targeted by the government, helicopter gunships, anti-missile aircrafts. They are destroyed, demolished, except the Fasci, which is still struggling. 1 out of the 5, and that is the situation today.